better Baltimore County together by focusing on sustainable and equitable opportunities for all, and are proud to continue to hold these events with residents and stakeholders as our community's needs are an essential part of the budget planning process. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge and thank Principal Abby Campbell and the entire staff of Perry Hall High School for their hospitality and for hosting this evening's town hall. Tonight, we begin our fiscal year 2026 budget discussions here in District 5, hosted by your County Executive, Kathy Klausmeier, and your Councilman, David Marks. We will start off the evening with a few words from Principal Campbell, followed by brief remarks from Councilman Marks. County Executive Kathy Klausmeier will then give welcome remarks, along with a few words about projects in District 5. Kevin Reed, Director of Baltimore County's Office of Budget and Finance, will follow the County Executive with a brief budget presentation. After Director Reed's presentation, residents and stakeholders will have an opportunity to share their budget-related priorities with an allotted time of 90 seconds at one of the microphones located here in the front of the auditorium. The County Executive, department heads, and councilmen will listen to your requests, concerns, and ideas. If you share a concern or issue that needs further attention, we will have a coordinator from the Office of Community Engagement or designated department representative follow up with you. Tonight's town hall will conclude at 8 p.m. Those who are unable to provide their testimony in person by that time may submit their request for consideration by emailing townhall@baltimorecountymd.gov. If you have come with a group, we ask that you designate one spokesperson to share your group's budget priority. Group members are encouraged to stand in support when your priority is being shared. If you have already heard your budget priority shared tonight, we ask that you defer your time so that we can hear as many priorities as possible. And now it is my honor to welcome Principal Abby Campbell for a few brief remarks.
Greetings and welcome to Perry Hall High School. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We're very happy to host you. Greetings to our county council members and to County Executive Klausmeier. We appreciate your support of our public schools. I'm going to introduce our county councilman, David Marks, who is Perry Hall alumni.
Thank you very much, Abby, and welcome to Perry Hall High School and to the 5th District Town Hall meeting. We always have one of the most well-attended town hall meetings, and tonight is no exception. I think it's important to take stock of some of the results of previous town hall meetings. Folks at those town hall meetings talked about priorities, and the county executive and I and the county council were able to get those done. For example, thanks to the construction of Nottingham Middle School, 2 new elementary schools, and an expansion of Pine Grove Middle School, we have virtually eliminated school overcrowding throughout much of the east side. That's a cheer. 7 new parks have been created in the Northeast, and the CP Crane property has been preserved from development in Middle River. And new traffic signals at Buck Schoolhouse Road and Campbell Boulevard are being prepared for installation next month. That's also a round of applause. And many of these were big projects, but as I said when our county executive was sworn in, the budget we adopt this year will certainly reflect a new reality. We're faced with great uncertainty from Washington, as well as the possibility of higher taxes from the state government and new mandates that will have to be absorbed into the county budget. The County Council will continue to work with our county executive, who's always been a friend of public education, to make sure that money goes directly into our classrooms. So as we look forward to the future, it's my opinion we have to focus on really finishing existing projects and also new projects that command heavy private sector support. Before I introduce our county executive, I'd like to introduce my staff members who are here, Bradley Lang and Sam Walters. Thank you for your ideas and your constructive comments. We are honored to have you here at Perry Hall. We're honored to serve you, and we look forward to a great town hall meeting. Our county executive, of course, needs little introduction to many of you tonight. It is a pleasure to welcome Perry Hall's own county executive, Kathy Klausmeier, back to Perry Hall High School.
Good evening. Well, as Perry Hall does, has the biggest crowd ever out of the whole county. So congratulations, everybody. I'm very, very proud. As you all know, I used to represent this area, but now I represent the whole county, so it's a little bit different. But it's so good to see all of you here, and I'm sure there are a couple of my friends here and there. And thank you all very much for coming tonight. I'm looking out there. Is that my brother out there, I think? If that's my brother, please stand up and wave. Must not be him. I asked him to come, but, well, that's what brothers do. So, anyway, it's great to be here, and good evening to everyone. And thank you so much for joining us, and it's great to be here with Councilman David Marks, who is a great partner and a leader on the county council. I also want to thank Perry Hall High School and the principal for allowing us to use this beautiful space this evening. I am proud to be joined by our administrative officer, DeAndrea Walker. Where is she? She's invaluable help to me, as well as our county departments, almost all of whom are represented by the director or deputy. Most of all, thank you to everyone who made the trip to join us and be part of our county's future. But I would like to have our department heads all stand up and give them a thank you. And I don't think any of my staff is here, but I do want to, I'd like to thank all of them, because what has always been said to me, you're only as good as the people that are around you. And I am surrounded by many, 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 many good people that help me on a daily basis. So thank you to all of them. Before we talk about how the budget works, I want to take just a few minutes to talk about the historic investments we've made across Baltimore County, especially here in District 5. And I know Councilman Marks said some of them, but we put $110 million for Nottingham Middle School, which officially opened its doors last year. It's a beautiful school. We also provided over $21.3 million for significant improvements and enhancements to Joppa View Elementary, Oliver Beach Elementary, and Perry Hall High Schools, as well as more than $500,000 for security vestibules at Perry Hall Elementary School. In addition, we are continuing to support learners of all ages with more than $740,000 to renovate and improve the White Marsh Library. We are also continuing to invest in new efforts and programs that keep our communities and residents safe. We've delivered more than $2.1 million to improve Fullerton Fire Station. Let's hear it for our firemen. And over $700,000 to enhance the Police Marine Center. Let's hear it for them. And more than $220,000 to renovate and upgrade the White Marsh Police Station, a project that should be completed by the end of the year. And I neglected to say, thank you, teachers. So let's hear it for the teachers. And I say that we have all of everyone that really teaches us and keeps us safe here tonight. So thank to each and every one of you. We know that every resident deserves access to life-changing recreation opportunities, parks, and open spaces where they can have fun and enjoy our county's scenic beauty. We have delivered more than $6.2 million to improve parks, playgrounds, nature centers, and much more across District 5. It's a great district. That includes over $1.6 million for the Dave's Coves Park disc golf course. Okay, and I don't know who said woo, but you must have been one. They told me that all came about because of one of the town hall meetings. Is that right? You got up and said you wanted it, and the county did it for you. You're welcome. I'm going to have to come up and play a game of it. $1 million to develop a new Girth Road Park, over $830,000 for a new pavilion at the Marshy Point Nature Center. A lot of nature people here, and more than $2 million to improve 8 playgrounds across the district. Last September, we were proud to announce that Baltimore County used $10 million in state program open space funding to acquire 85 acres at the former C.P. Crane site in Middle River, so we can preserve it as parklands for the generations of visits to enjoy. Thank you to all our partners, especially Councilman Marks, give him an attaboy for that, and our District 5 communities for your continued advocacy for parks and open spaces. Vibrant and well-connected communities ensure that every resident can access the resources they need and take pride in their neighborhood. Here in District 5, we provided nearly $250,000 to revitalize our community, including $40,000 for the Chesapeake Gateway Chamber of Commerce, for the Oliver Beach Improvement Association, $15,000 for Bowley's Quarters Improvement Association, and over $11,000 for Perry Hall Improvement Association. This funding continues to support community hubs, help us engage local businesses, and ensures that our residents can enjoy world-class amenities for years to come. And speaking of years, let's have a big round of applause for the Perry Hall community, which is celebrating 250 years being here, and it's their 250th anniversary this year. So go Perry Hall. Lastly, we want to continue to do everything we can to support and champion our workforce. Baltimore County is home of 13 federal civilian jobs with numerous federal work establishments, contractors, and nonprofit groups who rely on federal funds. For any federal employee, civil servant, contractor, or employer who has recently been affected by the decisions at the federal level, Baltimore County is here to support you with a job. Opportunities, workshops, and resources for housing, food, and child care, and more can be found. You can scan the code, follow the link on our slide. Up there, there's the code. And for more information, or visit one of our representatives to learn more about these resources. And if you didn't meet them outside this evening at one of their little kiosks, please let me know as you come down the aisle, and we'll hook you up. We are continuing to invest our District 5 communities and across Baltimore County. However, we are also entering an uncertain budget season with looming cuts at the state level and a new federal administration. This uncertainty means that we are facing challenges to continue funding ongoing programs and new initiatives. We are proud of what we've delivered, but we want to continue painting a realistic picture of the challenges we are facing and the difficult decisions we will need to make. We are committed to working with our partners, our department directors, and leaders like Councilman Marks to present a balanced budget, which we have to do, as well as the state has to do, and continue investing our county's future. With that in mind, we're still facing uncertain times. I'd now like to welcome Director Kevin Reed from the Office of Budget and Finance to show us how we build our budget. And here's Kevin, wherever he is. He's still working on the budget back there. Okay, come on.
Thank you, Madam County Executive, and thank you, District 5, for being here tonight. I'm going to take this. And sharing your interest in this process in the community. It's an honor to serve as the Director of Budget and Finance. As I know, a lot of you sitting in this audience with the red shirts and our director is up in the front, that it truly is an honor to serve the community in which you live. With that said, we, as Councilman mentioned and the County Executive, we are, getting into some challenging times that we'll discuss. Oops, in a minute. Oop. Here we go. But before we talk about some of the challenges that we face, I wanted to talk about our Budget 101 for our local government budget. So we have two budgets. One, we have our operating budget. It's a $4.6 billion program. And when you're looking at the revenues where we make up our funding, we see that half comes from income taxes that you pay and real and property taxes. I want everyone to pay particular attention to the 9% federal aid up in the corner, and that is about $400 million that comes into Baltimore County government, as well as a community college and our school system. And those are funds that we are very concerned about at this time to ensure that we get reimbursed for the programs and the personnel that we have spinning up. So the county executive has convened a work group, and we work through this every week when we find out more information on how we continue to move forward with these changes that we have from the federal government. But it's something we're going to keep an eye on, and that directly impacts a lot of the budget decisions that we will make. If you look at our expenditure sides, over half of every dollar goes to, of local public, goes to our school system and our college and our libraries, as well as our fixed costs, our pensions and debt service, and as well as the smaller component, the little under 4% for our general government employees, and that's the folks like a lot of us sitting up here. When we look at our capital budget, it is a one-year program with a 5-year outlay, and the revenue that we have coming in is about half of that is the water and sewer user fees that we all pay as part of our tax bills. And that is a self-sustaining system. It's our metropolitan district system with a city that you have equal amount of self-supporting going out. You see in the expenditure side. Our capital budget, also a little under 40%, is funded by general obligation bonds. And that's funding that we issue to build one-time capital projects. And I'd like to call attention to the cash portion, almost at 7% for revenue. And again, our goal every year, if we have surplus funding, is to try to use cash to lessen the reliance on debt that we have for our one-time capital projects that we have spinning up. So again, the goal is when we have one-time revenues coming in, we like to spend them on non-ongoing costs for our capital budget. And again, if you look at the expenditures on our outlay, over a quarter of that goes to our public school system, followed by those various areas. We were fortunate a couple years ago in 2021 to receive $161 million from the American Rescue Plan, and that really helped us deal with the COVID pandemic from an economic and obviously a public health standpoint. We are proud at this point that funding is 100% obligated, and that was required by law, and at this time we have 2 years to complete those projects and those one-time funding. We were very deliberate and purposeful not to create ongoing programs and expenditures that many governments across the country did that have put themselves in a very difficult position when that funding were to expire. So when we talk about building the FY26 budget, these are some basic premises that we have to work off of. We know that we must have a balanced budget. We must maintain a rainy day fund balance of a minimum of 10%. We attempt to adhere to the guidelines set forth by the Spending Affordability Committee. And we're also here again listening to the community members and reflecting on the needs of the residents. I think we had an example of some things that have come to fruition. because of these events and these town hall series that we have. And most importantly is the last bullet is fiscal sustainability. We don't want to make decisions that put ourselves in a bad. We all deserve raises in this room. I know we'd like to continue all the great things that we're doing, but we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where it is not sustainable in the out years. When we look at the Spending Affordability Committee, this is a committee put on by the County Council, and in short, it ensures that we don't spend more on our operating budget than our economy will support. And as an example, for this year in FY25, the Spending Affordability Committee allowed a 4.36% growth rate, or $118 million. And that sounds like a lot of money. And, again, we have a $4.6 billion operating budget. But this is some of the breakdown on where that additional spending went to. And I'd like to call attention to kind of the benefits and salary increases that we offer and contractual increases. These are really mandatory fixed costs that we're required to fund. And then when we look at other growth, the 27%, these are some of the programs that we had built out with the additional funding that we have. So when we talk about formulating the FY26 budget, we have a new federal administration. It changes day by day, hour by hour on different things that we have coming down to us. But as the county executive and the councilman mentioned, we will have a balanced budget, and we will put forward a balanced budget, just like the state. But a lot of this is coming down from the federal government and as well from the state government, right? The state is in a $3.3 billion deficit, and that there will be costs transferred on the county, and the current price tag for Baltimore County is anywhere from about $17 million to $20 million in increased pension costs that they're transferring to local government for teachers, as well as costs for assessment of properties. So we're really focused on these top two. We mentioned the American Rescue Plan. We have required increases for our employee and retiree health care. Is immensely expensive. We're dealing with almost double-digit increases year over year to support the benefits that we all have in the public sector. And we have our spending affordability guideline, what we just mentioned. When we talk about our capital budget, the impact of inflation and labor, it's making materials and projects more expensive to build. We've seen about a 20% increase in our construction costs. Labor is getting scarce and more expensive to carry on. So keeping these existing capital projects on schedule and on budget is really continuing to maintain a challenge. We've also reached our maximum borrowing limits via the referendum that those of you who are at the polls this November voted for increases for our bonds, and they did pass. But at this time, those are really maxed out within the debt limits that we're able to afford. So when we talk about the FY26 operating budget, the allowable growth that we estimate at this time versus the budget requests, if you look at the bar all the way on the right, that's the $127 million is the cash, and the guidelines set on by the Spending Affordability Committee. So we have $127 million that we know right now. And again, this number is changing, and it's not changing for the better as time is moving on here. These are the requests that we have coming in on the left. So we have, we have to get the bar on the left to fit within the bar on the right, and that's the challenges that we have coming up. That doesn't anticipate either. We also have to work out the funding that is being transferred onto localities from the state. So we know that they're going to pass that down to us. So I want everyone to really understand the challenges that we're going to have here as an organization. Capital, again, our building and replacement costs. We have an aging set of schools and county government buildings that require major maintenance and major infrastructure needs. We have immense roads and infrastructure projects and critical public safety infrastructure, which we are continuing to build out. So when we look at our long-term, multi-year capital budget, there's about $300 million in needs. So what we do know is we will submit a balanced budget. It will be balanced on July 1, and it will end balanced on June 30th. If there are adjustments that need to be made throughout the year, we are prepared to do that. We are committed to maintaining our AAA bond rating. We are just recently reaffirmed for this high standard by all three major rating agencies, and that's a distinction that we share with only 2% of counties in the whole country. It allows us to borrow money at the cheapest possible rates when we do need to borrow for one-time capital projects. And we're prepared for tough decisions, decisions that are very rapidly evolving as we continue to build out this budget. So our timeline is we're having the town halls and wrapping up next week, and then the county executive will submit her budget message on April 11th to the county council. During the end of April and May, the county council will review the budget and have public hearings on various agencies, and will adopt a budget at the end of May. So I appreciate everyone being here tonight, and we look forward to hearing for some of your issues. So with that, I will turn it over to Erica.
Thank you, Madam County Executive and Director Reed. It is now time to hear budget-related priorities. We understand there's a lot of people here tonight, so we ask that you designate one person when you share your budget priority, so we can hear as many budget priorities as possible. If you do hear a budget priority that you are wanting to share, we ask that you defer your time to as many people as possible. If you don't have an opportunity to speak tonight, you may email your budget priority to the county executive at townhall@baltimorecounty.md.gov.
Well, you quick. You quick. You quick on it. Sure, you got it right on it. Yeah, I know. All right. Damn, I always get first.
I would just like to take this opportunity, there were a few more announcements that we had to say that Senator Carl Jackson is here. Councilman Izzy Patoka. Councilman Julian Jones. School Board Member Julie Henn. And there are, I believe, 2 people here that never get recognized, but I think it's very important. One, I don't even know their names, but our signers, please stand up. Are you by yourself? Time to come in. He's being shy? Here he comes. Or she is, okay. So we couldn't work without them. So thank you very much. And okay.
Good evening. My name is Joelle Bielski, and I'm the Director of Staff Relations in BCPS. I'm here to speak on the importance of funding the proposed FY26 budget. We are in unprecedented times and uncertain times in education, and shifts at the federal level are only adding to this uncertainty. If this budget is not funded, we will be forced to make additional cuts that will negatively impact student achievement and disrupt our forward progress. If we do not provide competitive salaries, we will not attract the high-quality teachers and support staff that we desperately need. We will not retain the amazing administrators who lead with excellence and foster safe and nurturing environments for 110,000 students. We will not be able to maintain our school buildings or effectively transport students because we would be losing staff who are the cornerstone of our system. I urge you to fully fund the BCPS budget so that we can continue the critical work of preparing students to thrive in college and careers. They are our future, and they, above all, deserve it.
Good evening. I'm Gustavus McLeod. I'm with the Glen Earl Martin Maryland Aviation Museum. And thanks to Councilman David Marks, the museum is now occupying the old Lockheed property and 14 acres on the water. So if all the people who support the Martin Museum stand up, what we're offering the county is we're a cultural site We're going to be an educational site to educate our people in aerospace, airline mechanics, air traffic controllers, and a museum. This place has more aviation history than any place in the world. So we've finally done it, 3 years. Thanks to this council, we did it. So I can give my time to that student who let me go first. So thank you, executive, for having us out, and we look forward to your support. And thank you.
Good evening. My name's Tom Dehart. I am a Perry Hall resident and member of the Board of Directors for the Northgate Hall Community Association, speaking as an individual. I'd like to talk about the resurfacing of Honeygo Boulevard from Joppa Road to Silver Spring Road. It's a road that's been there since the early 90s and never been resurfaced in its entirety. It has been patched. The budget includes funding for resurfacing from Joppa Road to Ebenezer Road, but not Ebenezer Road to Silver Spring Road. That seems kind of foolhardy, is about another third of the highway or the road would not be surfaced on the current budget. That section of road is actually older than the road that is going to be resurfaced, but traffic uses all of that road. So I'm asking that funding be included to complete the project from Joppa Road to Silver Spring Road. Thank you.
All right, Joshua. Just lift it up. That's a little too high. Hello, Baltimore County Executive and Councilman David Marks. My name is Jane Beals, and I'm the chairman of Perry Hall Democrats, a school club that encourages political literacy for high school students. And my concern is funding for after-school clubs like mine and the advisors that support us. I believe that the progress of our county is in the hands of extracurriculars. And if extracurriculars aren't treated properly, that can lead to a decline. And how can we expect the teachers that invest in us and our communities if we don't invest in them? When they're struggling, to pay their bills, and they have to choose between their phone or their BG&E. We must stand with them if we expect them to stand with us. So, County Executive, I'm urging you to use to give us the $1.3 million for our school budget, so we can better invest in our schools, our extracurriculars, and our teachers. Thank you, and I can see the rest of my time.
County Executive Klausmeier, Councilman Marks, Director Reed, thank you for the opportunity to stand before you this evening. My name is Dave Conrad. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of both the BQIA, Bowlers Quarters Improvement Association, and myself as a resident and business owner in the Middle River area. Over the past 4 years, the BQIA has worked in close partnership with both DPWT and SHA to advocate for transportation and safety improvements to the entrance of our community. First, I just want to say thank you for the incredible support the County Executive's Office has provided our community already. We've received constant communication from Patrick and others in the engagement team. DPWT, Department of Economic and Workforce Development, have worked to address our safety concerns along the roadways that serve as the gateway to the Middle River community, so we appreciate that. I also want to thank Councilman Marks as well as our delegates, Ryan Naraki and Kathy Salega, for their support over the past 4 years. I have 2 requests for this evening. First, I would respectfully ask that you continue, as you did last year, to include Maryland 150 from Maryland 43 to Earls Road in your priority letter to MDOT for the fiscal year 2026-2031 Consolidated Transportation Program. That's a big thing for us, helps us keep things going in the same direction that we've been. Second, I'm requesting $300,000 to fund the DPWT study recommendations within our target area of improvement. I've already provided a formal written comment to your office giving a more detailed outline of the importance of the request. Our request for this year's budget will allow our community to continue the momentum that we have built with our state and local agency partners over the past 4 years, and I thank you for your time.
Good evening, my name is Brianna Zhang, and I'm a junior at Eastern Technical High School. I am currently serving as chair of the Eastern Tech Democrats. County Executive and Councilman, as of 2024, BCPS was forced to adjust their tuition-free program at CCBC to only cover up to four courses during the spring and fall semesters, when in the past the same program used to give unlimited access to courses during the summer and winter. This is highly problematic because students like myself just don't have the time to take classes during the school year. Students like myself don't have the funds to spend thousands of dollars to take classes at CCBC during the summer. This brings me to the point of the importance of providing adequate funding for college readiness programs, like the tuition-free program. The best way for students to get prepared for college is to have the opportunity to actually earn college credit before ever stepping foot into higher education. If there's a lack of funding for these programs, it directly harms low-income students who need the opportunities and to get the success that they need to achieve higher learning. Thus, I urge you, Councilman and County Executive, to ensure equal access and opportunity by providing funding to BCPS to expand their tuition-free program to also cover the summer semester. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Justina Mendoza. Soy miembro de la comunidad latina.
Good evening, my name is Justina Mendoza. I'm a member of the Latino community.
La fortaleza del condado de Baltimore reside en su diversidad. Para garantizar un futuro acogedor y próspero, debemos establecer una oficina de asuntos migratorios de tiempo completo.
Apologize, blanked on a word. The well-being of Baltimore County relies on the diversity of its community, and in order to establish a welcoming place, we need to fund a full-time immigrant affairs office.
Actualmente, los inmigrantes enfrentan barreras para acceder a asistencia legal, recursos e integración comunitaria. Esto actualiza su potencial y el crecimiento de nuestro condado.
Currently, the immigrant community lacks support in order to access legal services, resources, and integration materials. These things challenge their potential and ability to grow in our county.
Invertir en esta oficina significa apoyo directo personal de tiempo completo, que asiste con necesidades legales de vivienda y educativos.
Investing in this office means investing in direct support, staff that will be able to assist folks with legal services, housing, and education.
Beneficios económicos, integrar a los inmigrantes como emprendedores y trabajadores.
This means supporting economic development, business owners, and workers.
Preservar la diversidad, defender nuestros valores de inclusión.
This means preserving our diversity and investing in our values of inclusion.
Esta es una inversión estratégica, no solo compasiva. Una oficina dedicada, empoderada de los inmigrantes fortalecerá nuestra economía y consolidará el condado de Baltimore.
This is not a compassionate investment. This is an investment that would fertilize and fortify our county. This is an investment that would invest in our community. This is an office that would create a more welcoming Baltimore.
Gracias.
Thank you.
My name is Noah Williams, a student of Perry Hall High School, vice chair of the Perry Hall Young Dems, an observer of the concerns that has been accumulated in our community. On behalf of these concerns, it has come to my attention to address how long should these hardworking teachers and students keep waiting for an answer, a legitimate answer from our elects. A multitude of people are unaware of the next steps, especially from our administration, and it is obviously a big concern towards how we are going to keep developing. If there's one thing as a young man I wish not to see is our people suffering at the hands of our elects. With your help, we need the support from you in our county and for Perry Hall so we do not crumble in our community. I greatly advise you to invest that $1.3 million in us, whereby the development can keep advancing with us and that we can continue on as a community. That is all. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Taylor Boren. I am a BCPS educator and a Baltimore County constituent. I am here tonight to stress that public education is the cornerstone of a healthy democracy. If we do not protect our public schools, we are taking our democracy for granted. Underfunding schools, even for a year, will directly impact literacy, graduation rates, and educator retention rates. If we are going to raise resilient children who are ready to face the challenges of the world head on, we cannot for a moment let education funding slip through the cracks. This is a critical moment for safeguarding access to high-quality public education. I know there are tough decisions to be made, but I urge the county executive and county council to be champions for our students by fully funding the BCPS budget request. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Jim Hudson, and tonight I represent the Baltimore County Commission on Veterans Affairs. As you may know, our county has the third largest veteran population in the state of Maryland, with over 42,000 veterans calling Baltimore County home. Our commission's mission is to advocate for those veterans and their families and to connect them to resources through education and outreach. Since the commission restarted in 2023, we have assisted scores of veterans in that endeavor. This year, I ask for your support as the commission focuses on 3 important initiatives: the continued support of our Crisis Intercept Map implementation, which will help our governmental and external partners support veterans in crisis. 2, continued funding for the now 3rd annual Veterans Day celebration and resource fair at Towson University, as well as a small stipend to help with out-of-pocket expenses. Finally, support for Veterans Treatment Court, which will help our veterans community suffering from PTSD, TBIs, and more to navigate the legal system with emphasis on treatment. These programs will work to improve the lives of veterans and their families, not only in this district, but across our county. I thank you for your continued support for our commission and the veterans and the families we serve.
Excuse me. I would just like to thank you for your service. And are there any other veterans in here? Please stand up.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Good evening. I am Ms. Lucia Islas, and today I'm here speaking on behalf of the Latino Committee of Baltimore. I would like to ask that the county budget include funding to serve its diversity immigrant community, addressing the attacks coming from Washington, D.C., and ensuring that our immigrant neighbors feel safe in the place they have chosen to call home. We need investment in housing, workforce development, small business incubators, and immigration legal services for our community members who contribute by paying taxes and strengthening both our county and country. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Salim Baruch. I'm here for a couple reasons. I've been a Perry Hall resident for almost 30 years, and I'm all about community. That's the most important thing to me, family and community. As the president of the White Marsh Recreation Council, several years ago, we made a large contribution to help the county acquire the Gerst Road property to develop the Gerst Road Park. And we've greatly anticipated the completion of that, so we hope that that gets addressed very soon. We really look forward to having that completed, be a great addition to the community. And secondly, as a Baltimore County Public Schools employee, I think that going through the entire county, I've seen many different areas, and Perry Hall stands out as a very strong community. And a very strong and successful community, as we have here, starts in the classroom. And I think it's very important that the teachers get funded. And it's very important that the teachers and support staff get fully funded. Thank you very much.
evening. I'm Sharon Keene, president of the Chesapeake Gateway Chamber of Commerce in Eastern Baltimore County. Our mission is to promote an economic environment which attracts new businesses and supports the prosperity of established businesses. This chamber also dedicates considerable resources to enhancing the quality of life in our region through revitalization and investment in all phases of community life. Middle River is one of the county's most active areas for economic growth and has numerous projects in various stages of development. On behalf of the chamber, I would like to thank the Economic and Workforce Development for new programs like GROW that are aimed at revitalizing office workspaces. Councilman Marks for creating the Middle River Commercial Revitalization District, and all who have been and will continue to assist with bringing the Glen L. Martin Maryland Aviation Museum expansion to fruition. The significant growth in population and infrastructure in Middle River also necessitates an increase in emergency and other county services. We applaud all efforts to obtain funding at the federal, state, and local levels and public-private partnerships which would meet the growing demands for fire, rescue, and law enforcement in Middle River. The Chamber wishes to express our full support for appropriate projects which help to ensure the safety and well-being of local residents and businesses, including additional personnel, equipment, and facilities. We also understand that Middle River has never had a library, and a unique opportunity has arisen for a public-private partnership whereby Middle River would have a brand new library in under 2 years. The Chamber supports taking advantage of this opportunity. We appreciate any support you can provide for these initiatives. Thank you.
To the honorable panel sitting before me, many people will stand before you tonight and ask for what they believe they are entitled to. Well, we are here asking you to support what we are working for. The Bowley's Quarters Volunteer Fire Department is at a critical crossroads. Despite operating under substandard station conditions, our dedicated volunteers staffed units over 17,500 hours in 2024. This saved Baltimore County residents $7.1 million in career staffing costs. But here's the reality. Our facility cannot sustain the required staffing levels under these conditions. If we fail, the county will be forced to construct a new career fire station to meet the growing and rapidly growing needs of our area. Over 10 years, the cost of career staffing alone, adjusted for an annual 3% cost of living increase, will balloon to $87 million. And that doesn't include the price of building a new station. The solution is clear. By funding the construction of the Bowley's Quarters Fire Station now, Baltimore County can save $70+ million over the next decade. Millions of dollars that can be distributed to many of the projects you will hear about tonight. This is not just an investment in infrastructure, it's an investment in fiscal responsibility, public safety, and the dedicated volunteers who have already saved this county millions. We are not asking for a handout. We're asking for the resources and the facility to continue serving our community, just as we always have. Thank you.
Thank you all for your service.
County Executive Klausmeier, Councilman David Marks, good evening. My name is Pat Keller, resident of Perry Hall. I'm wearing two hats this evening. The first hat is Neighbor Space. I sit on the board of Neighbor Space, which, as you all know, develops parks, local community parks, small parks with communities and neighborhoods. And I want to extend a thank you on behalf of the organization for having us in the budget and thinking about us over the years. It's a relatively small amount, but we appreciate the support that you have given Neighbor Space. My second hat is with the Perry Hall Improvement Association. I'm president of the Perry Hall Improvement Association, and we would like to put forth 4 projects. These are not new projects. These are projects that have already begun and we'd like to see finished. One is the Honeygo Roundabout at Honeygo Boulevard and Crossroads. Some folks for that now. Gurst Lane Park, you heard from Salim, who's president of the Rec Council. To finish that park, it's a real asset to the community. Traffic calming on Silver Spring Road. The study, Public Works has started a study on traffic calming for that road, and we'd like to see that completed. And finally, the Honeygo Boulevard Joppa Road intersection. There is a street signal there that was improved, and it had 2 left turns put on it, but 2 two are missing from the other sides. So these are projects that are not new projects, they're just ongoing projects, and if you could see to fund these, it would be fantastic.
Hello, my name is Daniel Dean. I'm the research chair for the Marshy Point Nature Center Council. I'm also the appointed District 5 representative for the Landmarks Preservation Commission, volunteer. For Marshy Point Nature Center Council, I just want to keep advocating. I told Mr. Smith I would pester him over and over again for an archaeologist on staff at some point for Baltimore County Parks. Once you build something on a property, it's very hard to discover what's underneath of it. We're behind in, compared to Howard County, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, amongst others, as far as having an archaeologist on staff. Volunteers are helping out now, but if I move to a different district or Harford County, you just lost the person at Marshy Point. Same thing with Cromwell Valley and everybody else. I would also like to speak on preservation and historical protections. I'd like to thank David Marks for all of his advancements with the green space and with all of the advancements with farmland preservation. Just to compare that and kind of be happy I'm in District 5. There was a house on the preliminary landmarks list for District 4 called the Choate House at 9600 Liberty Road. It was a circa 1810 tavern and later residence. It sat on the list since 2019 without any movement in the county council. Unfortunately, it passed the time frame of protection, lost protection. The councilman for that district would normally submit it, and then it would be voted upon. It would have public hearings and then be placed on. It is now, I visited yesterday, we were told in February, our last meeting, that it was taken off because it was not voted on, and it's now a pile of rubble. So I would like to thank Mr. Marks for our district here for supporting these endeavors and creating green space and historic properties. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. For those of you who attended the old Perry Hall Elementary School on Bel Air Road, that has been nominated for historic preservation status. It's the one right by the fire station. The Landmarks Commission forwarded it to the council, and I intend to ask that that be taken up as soon as possible so we will have that property protected from demolition.
I'm here to represent the Sunny Flyers of Baltimore. Our club is 54 years old, and we have 50 members looking for a place for people to continue their hobbies in this part of the county. We are here to make a plea for help finding a place for radio-controlled airplanes for a runway. We're not looking for a park. We are looking for a 120-foot by 350-foot strip of grass that could be a permanent runway away from populated areas such as building, housing, infrastructures, power lines, etc. Our hobby usually coexists and shares areas such as old landfills, farmlands, and floodplains. There are other fly fields that exist by the help of Baltimore County, but at this time there are no fields in eastern Baltimore County. The fact is we lost our field again due to land development. We offer a safe place that helps keep drone operators off local school fields, public parks, private property, parking lots, commercial airports, stadium events, and any other unauthorized public or private areas. We implore you to please read our brochure so we can continue our 54-year history.
Good evening. My name is Francisco Moscoso, and I've been a Baltimore County resident for over 30 years. I am asking the county to consider incorporating bocce courts into our parks and recs. We currently have 0 in Baltimore County. Other surrounding counties have already incorporated them into their parks. Bocce courts are relatively low maintenance once built. It is also a low impact sport, and these courts can be used by residents of all ages, not just children. As a parent and coach of a Special Olympic athlete, a bocce court would provide a safe place for athletes to practice, minimizing the risk of playing on unleveled fields, which is what our Special Olympics bocce program is currently doing. Thank you for your consideration.
Inflation has increased costs by over 23% since 2020. Funding increases to volunteer fire stations are 10% below that increase. Property tax assessments and tax revenue have outpaced our funding and costs. Capital purchases are often delayed as a result. New fire stations become a dream. This often neglected investment in our community results in increased operating costs. Volunteer Fire Services needs the capital funding to build modern, energy-efficient, environmentally friendly fire stations. Many fire stations become functionally obsolete with their age and increased demands for service. These replacements will be a significant investment in our communities to restore the residents' faith that your government cares about them. Your constituents depend on you doing the right thing. Volunteer fire station service extends well beyond the local community. With an increased EMS demands, volunteers responded to just about every community in Baltimore County this year. Politicians love to be seen with the fire department at parades and community events. They like to be seen as supporting heroes. But as soon as it becomes budget time, they push that number down to zero, as fire department is the first place you cut. Fire services always push their limits to overcome whatever obstacles to save lives. We're reaching a point financially we cannot overcome. And when a community loses its fire station, in addition to the increased likelihood of death, their fire insurance costs will increase based on the increased response time. And that's a hidden tax increase that no community can afford. Every community needs the same level of fire and EMS service as the affluent areas. You heard from Chief Stallings from Bowley's Quarters requesting funding for their new station. Bowley's Quarters operates the only marine-based ambulance in Baltimore County, providing critical life-saving services to all the boaters using the vast Chesapeake Bay and its tributaries. Your constituents need your support for this critical service. Many more over the next several years. Fire department is the only government function that, when the greater investment goes to improve performance and response coverage, results in insurance cost reduction to citizens that is often greater than the cost of those improvements. Thank you.
Good evening. Josh List from Kingsville Volunteer Fire Company. I don't know that I can say much more than he just said. I will be brief. Thank you for your continued support. Both of these elected officials up here have supported Kingsville in the past. Continue to increase capital funding into that loan fund that we can use, and increase those capital fundings to all the volunteer fire companies in Baltimore County. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Andrew, and I'm an officer of the Baltimore County Volunteer Firefighters Association. I considered speaking tonight about statistics, the broken promises of past administrations, and the volunteer and career challenges, but I've decided tonight instead to tell you a few hard truths. The truth is we are not sustainably supported in this county. The 29 volunteer stations conservatively save this administration over $120 million a year. Yet there are stations with roofs over 30 years old, leaking and sagging so bad that mild rainstorms flood their training and living quarters. I've been up there myself to physically feel the roof deck squishing beneath my feet. Stations with bay doors that are broken, who have to park their equipment outside so when they get a call they can actually respond. Fire engines that are almost 30 years old with pumps that leak and brakes that need service. But the worst part is this is just survival. There are stations in desperate need of expansion as our demand for service increases and they seek to meet it. The citizens of Baltimore County expect one thing when they call 911, help. But who do we ask for when we need it? We aren't asking for funding for new parks or a disc golf course or pickleball courts. We're asking for what we need to help keep you alive on the worst day of your life. We have reached critical mass. We have reached critical mass, and I implore you tonight to make the Baltimore County Fire and EMS service, both volunteer and career, a real priority for your budget. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eliza. I have come here today to show support for Councilman Marks's plan to focus on and overhaul the Silver Spring Road corridor stretching from Bel Air Road to Honeygo Avenue. Until about a month ago, I lived in the Hallfield Apartments directly at the corner of Slater and Bel Air, 1 block over from Silver Spring, and I took Silver Spring Road to and from work every day, multiple times a day, as well as just to get to places in my everyday life because I live so close to it. And the fact of the matter is that it's become a highway. The posted speed limit is 35 miles an hour, and people regularly go 60 to 75 miles an hour, and the people that live on Silver Spring can't even enjoy being outside without fear of a car crashing into them in their front yard. I only moved to Perry Hall 2.5 years ago. I grew up in Catonsville, but every single time the weather gets, at least in the past 2 years, whenever the weather gets warmer, like it is today, that makes me afraid because that means accidents are going to happen. That's when joyriding happens because it's nice. The weather's nice. You want to go roll down your windows and play the music and whatever. But it's scary. And in addition to being a Perry Hall resident, I also do this every day. I work at a traffic engineering company in White Marsh. Traffic studies, traffic calming, data collection, analysis, design. That is what we do every single day at my work. I work on the proposals. I know how these jobs work, and accidents are going to continue to happen. People are going to continue to get hurt, even lose their lives. You're the people that can do something about it, so do something about it. Thank you.
Throughout the county and many jurisdictions across the United States, we're having to re-engineer roads that were built to 1950 specifications. They're basically through, putting the traffic through. That's one, Silver Spring Road, Honeygo Boulevard is the other. So I want to thank you for your testimony, and you're right. Re-engineering these roads will improve public safety, so it'll have a lot of impacts on things that we're talking about from other people tonight. So thank you.
Hello, I am Oak Crest resident Keith Derrickson. I'm speaking to you on behalf of the residents, employees, family, and friends of Oak Crest Village requesting the installation of a traffic light at our entrance. Councilman Marks and Executive Klausmeier, I do not need to restate the need for this project. Both of you are well aware of our community concerns. Oak Crest has a vulnerable population with over 2,000 residents, most over 80 and many still driving, and a student workforce of over 250 precious teenagers who are new drivers. You know about the constant flow of cars, ambulances, trucks, moving vans, and 18-wheelers that go in and out of Oak Crest daily. Executive Klausmeier, in your first speech as county executive, you mentioned your passion for public safety. For Oak Crest, this is our most pressing public safety issue, and installing a traffic light is not only the most logical solution, but it's the right thing to do. I would like to spend the rest of my 90 seconds to thank you, Kathy, for your years of service you gave to the Oak Crest community as our delegate and state senator. We were very disappointed when we were recently redistricted out of your jurisdiction. We couldn't be more pleased that we can now reclaim you as our new county executive, and we welcome you to Oak Crest. I believe I'm standing in front of two of the hardest working and most dedicated public servants for Baltimore County that I have seen in my lifetime. The two of you, one of being a Republican and the other Democrat, have demonstrated to all of us the rarely seen meaning of bipartisanship and an atmosphere of working together for common good. Oak Crest could not be more proud of you, and we thank you for your continued service.
Thank you very much, Keith.
Good evening. I'm Mark Moore, president of the Perry Hall Manor Association. I'm here to speak of our septic system and public sewage system that is slated to be installed. I'd like to start by thanking Executive Klausmeier and Councilman Marks for your support of our project up to this point, which started in 2018. The county performed a survey and identified our community with several failing septic systems that are health and safety issues. While we have gotten support in the past for funding, we have a concern that that funding will expire at some point. We're now 7 years into the project. The project has been stalled for the past nearly 2 years, waiting for property to be acquired for the septic system. Several properties in our community have been identified for that pumping station, and there's others that could be identified, we believe. We have been working with Baltimore County, communicating with them on this, but the project has been stalled due to the property. So we have some folks, when it rains, they can't take a shower, can't wash clothing. We have other people during rainy seasons have to have their septic pumped 3 times in a month. And then we have other parts of our community where raw sewage is smelled when it does rain. So not only for the budget and securing the funding that has been aligned for us, we also ask for your help to get this project moving, and anything that you can do to help us with this. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the 8 o'clock hour. The county executive realizes that there are many of you still in line who have priorities you want to express. We're asking you to please keep your comments short. If your budget priority has already been heard, please let those who have other priorities come before you. You can also email your budget priorities to the email address that is on the screen. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Kelly. I've lived in this county most of my life, but I would like to suggest to you, Executive Klausmeier and Mr. Marks, the possibility of a zoning ombudsman. That's not to take or diminish any challenges that Mr. Taylor has, but it seems to me in the last 15 years, the zoning process has been very disjointed in terms of permits and occupancy, and in order to do business in the county, you have to be licensed by the state. And then in order to do it in the county, you have to have an occupancy permit. An occupancy permit turns into a site plan. Then it goes through county review. And it seems to me that most of the zoning complaints don't come from the young adults, but people that have lived in their houses forever. And I think that to appoint a ombudsman, volunteer, or whatever you need to do would be beneficial to the people that do have zoning complaints, so that they can follow this through from beginning to end, to code enforcement, to make sure that they have the permits and those types of things. That's all I can say, but please consider it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Hinkle, and I'm here tonight as a member of the Community Task Force that is working together with Baltimore County Public Libraries to bring a new 21st century state-of-the-art library to the Middle River area. The developers of the Greenlee community have graciously offered to fund the upfront costs of this new library, as well as handle maintenance costs that are associated. This is going to give us a unique opportunity to create a 25,000 square foot, again, state-of-the-art space with no capital budget requirements from the county. Talk about stretching our resources and thinking outside the box. We will be able to gain this space and open the doors within 18 months, and we'll only have to worry about operating costs in the form of a lease over the next 25 years. As a mom of four, I know about stretching a budget and a good opportunity, and this is a great one. Greenlee has already proven that they're a great partner, having worked in the past with Baltimore County Public Schools, Baltimore County Department of Health, and the Board of Elections. Now we, our great little 21220, are lucky enough to have them choose Middle River as their next great partnership opportunity with Baltimore County Public Libraries. It's very exciting. I know there are a lot of other deserving ideas presented here tonight, but the community wants this. The residents want this, the leaders want this. It's all on board for investing in the future of education in our community. So as someone who was born and raised and still resides in Middle River, I hope you'll consider adding this opportunity to the upcoming fiscal budget. It's a great value. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tolly. I am a third grader at Rossville Elementary School, and I would like sidewalks at Ridge Road and Gum Spring Road, because all I really want to do is be able to walk to my friend's house, walk my dog, and walk with my family after school, and I don't really have that. All I can do is my driveway, because my mom is a really safety parent. And I also want sidewalks because I want my friends to be able to walk to me like I'm going to be able to walk to them through my backyard. I also think that we should have sidewalks because, like, I can walk to school from there then. I don't have to take the loudest bus in the world. I also want to be able to go to my school for when I'm bored to play at the playground because it is a public school, and I can't really do that when my parents have to walk me because I'm not able to walk there by myself. I have to walk with my parents, and most of the time my parents are super busy. I would also like more homeless shelters, like homeless shelters map, so homeless people can find maps on how to get there without having to just search around for hours and days.
We're at Ridge and Gum Spring Roads, right at the corner of, right near the new Rossville Elementary, and our kids can't walk to school even though it's in the backyard of our across the street neighbors. And that's really, we've been trying for a couple years. Councilman Marks came out with us and canvassed around our neighborhood, and almost every single person was in favor of sidewalks tremendously. Everybody overwhelmingly agreed. So we would love to get this done. Thank you so much.
So ma'am, and thank you very much, folks. Ma'am, if you can loop up with DPWT, Director Buckler should be here. That would be a great place to start.
The children shall lead us. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mary Muth. I'm the president of Bowley's Quarters Improvement Association. Everything on my list, with the exception of one item, has been covered. So I echo the words of Dave Conrad and Chief Stallings. We totally support everything they've asked for. The one exception is Clark's Point Road, which has previously been budgeted for repair and thus has not been done. It is deteriorating seriously. It has over 47 cuts in it, with the side roads caving in. So please give consideration to that road. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Pernell Glenn. I'm the Vice President of the Essex Middle River Civic Council, and I'm here to talk about a couple things real quick. A couple of them has been already echoed. One of it is we do support the new library at suggesting a lease for the new library in Middle River. We also support funding requests for the new firehouse for Bowley's Quarters Volunteer Fire Department. As our community continues to grow, of course, our demand on emergency services also need to grow. Third, we'd like to ask for funding for the development of the new acquired CP Crane property. This land has been incredible potential to the much-needed green space, water access and recreational for amenities for Middle River. Fourth, we'd like to urge the county purchase the ball field and parking lot at Lockheed Martin. This is an excellent opportunity to acquire property that would accommodate additional sports and fields. And finally, we like to call for increase in police staffing at the Essex precincts. With the rise in calls and service, our officers are stressed thin. Additional personnel will help address crime, improve response time, and enhance public safety across our community. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam County Executive and Councilman David Marks and Director Reed. My name is Thomas Uhas. I am a citizen that lives within Councilman Marks' district that he serves. I appreciate you allowing me to testify on two specific issues that are near and dear to my heart tonight that greatly affect myself, my family, and my neighbors on Sagebrush Court and Silver Spring Road corridor. My first issue I would like to testify on is in my neighborhood off of Sagebrush Court. For the past 6 to 7 months, we have been dealing with a water issue that is creating a public hazard to 7 homes in the area and anyone that is attempting to utilize the sidewalks. We have had Baltimore County Water and Sewer along with County DPW come out and assess that area. It has been determined that this is a groundwater issue that is causing water to enter the home of one of my neighbors and then being discharged by their sump pump and flooding their yard, my neighbor's yard, and then over 200 feet of sidewalk. This flooding has created a constant state of water for the last 7 months. This water is not draining properly to the Chesapeake Bay drainage area that is off of our court due to the sidewalk that is there that was built in 1977 is failing. During the winter months, we had an accumulation of over 2 inches of ice, and despite my family and my neighbors knowing about this and the salt that we put down to try to mitigate it, my wife and my son both fell and had non-life-threatening injuries, but they did sustain an injury in there. I also want to note that our mail carrier, who had been carrying mail, was also caught on my home video camera of falling in that area due to the ice. This has created a huge problem for those that are in the area off of Sagebrush Court. My second thing I'd like to testify against tonight is the Silver Spring Road corridor. You already heard testimony on that. I was the first responder for one of the last vehicle accidents there as a paramedic of the Kingsville Volunteer Fire Company. I responded where that engine was displaced out of that car due to speed, 3 houses down, almost hitting 3 or 4 children that were playing basketball there at that time of that accident. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm looking for Director Lauren Buckler.
Ma'am, she's in the back, but.
She's in the back I guess she's discussing the other situation.
Right, she's in the back. I'll take him to the.
Okay. Oh, here she is. Could you let her know about the water problem with the ice? Here she's coming down right there. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, County Executive Klausmeier and Councilman David Marks. Good evening, guten Abend, buenas tardes, y noch. My name is Donna Batkis. I'm a board member of Latino Racial Justice Circle. I urge you to increase funding to nonprofit organizations serving Baltimore County's immigrant communities. These organizations are under increasing threats of the Trump administration and have historically been underfunded by Baltimore County, despite serving our residents. Our tax dollars should not be used to support federal immigration enforcement. In clear terms, the Baltimore County Police Department should not be helping ICE. That creates a chilling effect for our communities. Instead, they should be focusing on community policing and fostering strong relationships with community members to increase public safety. The immigrant communities contribute to the well-being and the prosperity of Baltimore County, and how the budget is distributed should reflect that. It is time that Baltimore County should have a fully funded cabinet-level Office of Immigrant Affairs to coordinate the county agency's efforts to improve immigrant integration and inclusion, to work with partners through the community, and to ensure that the voices of immigrant communities are heard at the highest level of county government. Thank you so much as an immigrant.
Hi, good evening, County Executive Klausmeier and Councilmember Marks. My name is Nicole Dvorak. I'm a former Baltimore County Public Library Union Executive Board member, Machinist Local 4538. I was on the very first union contract negotiating team on behalf of library staff, and I worked at both the Catonsville and Randallstown branches. I want to just quickly talk about one of the glaring issues within the library system's operations, which is their heavy reliance on part-time staff. For reference, Baltimore City's library system in 2023 had just 60 part-time staff. Prince George's library system had 24 part-time staff. Last year, Baltimore County's library system had an astonishing 187 part-time staff. And it's not because they don't want to work full-time. It's because a bunch of people at some point got together and decided that a bunch of library staff don't deserve benefits. The library system currently runs on gross exploitation of staff, and that is a choice. Nearly 65% of Baltimore County library staff aren't paid enough to afford a one-bedroom residence. That is 65%. I know that people want another library. I love library branches, but you have to pay people enough to afford food and housing. Of course, I want you to publicly support the library staff union contract and staff pay, but I would love you to start working on a plan to pay all public staff across departments at least $65,000 a year, which is what someone in Maryland needs to be paid in order to afford a modest one-bedroom residence. There isn't, I'm almost done. There isn't a single jurisdiction in Maryland that I can find that has a plan, an actual plan to ever compensate all staff enough to afford even the basics. Please start working on that plan. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Milagros Barco. I live in Baltimore County, 10 minutes to the Baltimore City. I want more program for every kid, not only in the high school or middle school. I think elementary need to, because sometimes when I try to inscribe my kids to any program, it's not good for me because they tell me it's only for Baltimore City. And I say, okay, I can try, and sometimes I think, and I say, maybe I can move because my kids need study because they are, they are the future of the country, I think, because they need learning more. I love when they are learning something new. All the time my kids, when they are coming, I say, what you learning today? And they are telling me and say, oh, it's good because everything is good for them. I think it's not only art or something dance. I think they need math, science, STEM, everything that way. It's only that. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you. My name is Sharonda Huffman, and I am a Baltimore County resident, and I'm just going to touch on a few things. We need investments in our mental health. Since December, Christmas Eve, we've had experience in East Baltimore County 2 murders allegedly by parents. I think we need to start teaching our children 988 as much as they know 911. Just recently, I remember last year near my home, someone committed suicide near Kenwood High School. So I know during this trying time, there's going to be a lot of people that need those mental health services, and they should be easy, accessible, and you shouldn't just be on Medicaid to get them. I propose infrastructure investments, mixed-use development, and business incentives to attract new opportunities and improve residents' quality of life. And just like some of the seniors here, we need sidewalks that are complete streets, because we also have people with disabilities that I see, using their scooters walking down the street. With anti-DEI efforts threatening funding sources, I propose a small business resiliency fund to support minority and women-owned businesses, as well as veterans. Additionally, expanding electric bill grants will help small businesses and residents manage rising costs. As far as the east side, we need to look at some of the things that happen around other jurisdictions and have more of a tourism marketing plan. Recently, I went to the CBC, and their thing is Be Bold. I propose that there be an Elevate East Tourism Grant, which will fund marketing efforts to historic sites, cultural events all over eastern Baltimore County. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am an 8th grader that is about to graduate, and at a young age, I got accepted to Texas University. As I am part of Latino Education Advancement Fund, I wanted to say that Baltimore County needs a summer and extracurricular program so low-income students can expand our horizons. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom Sarsfield. I currently live off Woolsingham, which is between Kintor Road and Bel Air Road. There's a county stream that is flowing in between 2 communities and is eroding the backyards of those communities. And they're going to lose not only their sewage, but also their homes if it continues. I was asking the county for additional support, ideally to mitigate that erosion and prevent people from losing their homes. I've had the county, I've had Mr. Marks and other county executive, members come out. They looked at it. I was told, not by Mr. Marks, but by people who work for the county, that it is not a taxpayer problem, and I'd like that to get addressed. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dinora Olmos, and I am the President and CEO of the Latino Education Advancement Fund. I am here tonight because we want you to know that we envision a Baltimore where Latino parents and students have the knowledge to successfully understand and navigate their local school system and how to access academic resources and advance extracurricular educational activities to advance to their ultimate potential. I am here with so many different parents from Baltimore County, and one of the things that you heard prior to me speaking is that they constantly ask me, why don't we have programs like we have in Baltimore City? Why Baltimore County don't offer programs, after-school programs, or funding to other organizations that can provide extracurricular activities. We need extracurricular activities. We need programs, summer programs. The young lady that stood right before me, she mentioned that she is going summer program to Texas University for 2 weeks with full scholarship. That is thanks to Latino Education Advancement Fund doing the work. But we need the funds. We need to work together. We need to collaborate to more students to have that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Teresa Vidic. I live in that Belmont, Wolsenham community. We have a huge problem with our plumbing supply lines, not only the water supply, but the water sewer lines. We have frequent breaks in the pipes. It occurs around the year. It's not just in the winter. Where that comes up as a problem is then we have huge sinkholes through the community. We have several of them right now. We don't have any money to fix them. The biggest problem is the plumbing stuff needs fixed. We don't have the money for that. And the asphalt needs fixed. We need help. We're part of Baltimore County and we're in trouble. We're a private community. Would you like us?
I completely agree with you.
Say it again.
I completely agree with you.
You agree?
It's an example of Belmont, Dunfield. They're streets that are privately owned, and associations like yours cannot maintain the upkeep. And
No.
you're in kind of a catch-22. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah, if Baltimore County wants to take us over as a county, as a not private, I'm all for it, because we're struggling. I've been there 30-some years. Where am I going to go? And there are no solutions. We don't have the money. Our money has been grossly mismanaged through the years, as has our community. So, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, County Executive Klausmeier and Councilman Marks, for this opportunity and extending the time this evening. My name is TJ Gagliano, and I'm the third Vice President of the Baltimore County Professional Firefighters Association, IFF Local 1311. While we recognize the looming financial challenges that were inherited by this administration, we feel strongly that the upcoming budget must allocate additional funding for the fire department to fulfill its core mission. Baltimore County is home to 232 miles of shoreline and 35 square miles of inland water, many of which are in this district. These waterways present unique emergency response challenges. Despite this vast responsibility, the BCUFD lacks career marine firefighting and water rescue assets. Increased commercial traffic at Trade Point Atlantic places growing demands on our waterways that necessitates career staff marine assets. Nearly 1 year ago at 1:30 a.m. on March 26, 2024, the Key Bridge collapsed. First arriving units from our Dundalk Fire Station stood helplessly on the shore looking at destruction. They stood there waiting for marine assets from surrounding jurisdictions and unstaffed marine assets. A career marine firefighting and rescue division would enhance our ability to respond swiftly to all waterborne emergencies, and it would ensure personnel are always ready to protect our citizens, visitors, businesses, and critical infrastructure along our waterways. County Executive Klausmeier, Councilman Marks, thank you again.
I don't need it. I've got a teacher voice. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you. My name is Genevieve Yeager, and I'm a school psychologist for Baltimore County Public Schools. Woo! I need my time. Stop. For the past 19 years, the role of a psychologist in Baltimore County has been 12-month TABCO employees. On Wednesday, March 12th, we were informed in a last-minute 15 meeting that our entire department would receive a partial layoff, effective July 1st. This partial layoff was a move from 12-month to 10-month employees, effectively lowering our salaries anywhere from 10 to 20%, depending on one's individual step levels. This impacted 98 of 112 staff members. For me personally, it's $12,000 in a pay cut, but more so 2 months of valuable time to complete work that needs to be done to support my school community. Unlike our traditional school year, many services and legal timelines that we must uphold as school psychs do not have a clock that stops in June. That thing goes year-round, baby. Many BCPS school psychologists work through the summer, not only to support child find in infants and toddlers, but to support other programs like extended school year, summer school, and to collaborate with our staff to participate in essential committee and clerical work that we must do to prepare for the upcoming school year. Listen, I know that balancing the county's budget is a struggle. Guess what else is? Managing my caseload of over 1,900 students in a comprehensive high school at Delaney High. Based on my national organization, NASP, it's recommended that psychs have a student ratio of 1 to 500. Other counties near us are closer to it and offer more in pay. That's going to result in more psychs resigning and leaving, my plate getting fuller. If I can't load my plate, I'm going to be missing important deadlines that are costly to our taxpayers, as we know in the central zone in Baltimore County. And then I'm going to have higher ratios. It's going to be harder to keep retention. And please, I urge you to please reinstate the full-time school psychologist to our 12-month position under TABCO Teacher Bargaining Unit for the benefit of Team BCPS systems, especially your students and families. Thank you. I know you've heard a lot about the fire department.
You know what's really galling too? The school system spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on an efficiency audit. All these recommendations where they could save money. And I asked our auditor to ask them, what about those recommendations? And they told us 90% of them have been implemented, but they won't give us a line item description of where it's gone. That's the most galling thing. We spend money on efficiencies so you all can get help, and then we don't know where the efficiencies are. Really galling.
Good evening, County Executive Klausmeier, Councilman Marks, members of the administration. I am Robert Thomas, Chief of Staff for the White Marsh Volunteer Fire Company. Some that are still with us this evening in the back. It's my honor and pleasure to address you this evening on behalf of the officers and members of the fire company. We're here tonight not to ask for money. Isn't that refreshing? We have served the community for over 75 years. We respond to more than 4,500 calls for service and maintain 11 pieces of apparatus. And thanks to Councilman Marks and the administration and the fire department, we received a second ambulance last year, which has augmented our first ambulance and assists on handling many, many EMS calls throughout our first two area and the county. We want to thank you for that second ambulance. We very much appreciate that. Secondly, our big request is to ask the administration and council to support with both the state and our federal partners the spur and ramp for Maryland Route 7 to eastbound Route 43. This has been requested for well over 10 years before we moved from Ebenezer Road to Route 7. This will assist not only the first responders of police, fire, and EMS, but others in gaining quicker access to Maryland Route 43. Lastly, we understand that Bill 1025, the Emergency Medical Service Billing and Volunteer Ambulance Units Revenue Sharing legislation has been placed on hold, and we would request that you do the assessment, the analysis, and please revisit that issue as soon as possible. That benefits the fire service throughout the county. Thank you for your time. I know it's been a long evening.
And just let me say that in this budget season, we have earmarked money and sent it with Congressman Harris. It's in his court right now in the down in Washington. So we're trying to get federal money, and then we're trying to get the state money for that road. So it's not on deaf ears. It's on our radar, and I'm hoping he'll be able to do that for us. So.
Thank you very much, Matt.
And yeah, okay.
Good evening. Thank you for your extended time. My name is Leon Thomas. I run the racquetball program at the Northeast Regional Recreation Center, which I found out today from USA Racquetball. Our program is the largest youth racquetball program in the country. We have close to 60 kids in our program. And I'm here tonight to ask you to please consider that as you're going through your budget process, you allocate money for the Department of Parks and Recreation, and specifically to sports that are more individualized, like gymnastics and racquetball. I recognize that many kids don't play these individual sports. However, coaches in sports like ours have an opportunity to build better relationships with kids and with their families. Our program, and I would think there are others in the county as well, we offer free tutoring in math, English, science, and soon Spanish, as well as kids work with me in my virtual event production company. And so it's not only racquetball, it's way more than that. And we need facilities to continue to do sports like this and have an impact on families. Thank you.
Mr. Thomas, you might want to talk, okay.
Yes.
You know?
We will, yes.
Bob,
Thank
okay, all right, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Andreas, and I'm the president of the South Parallel Boulevard Improvement Association. I would like to extend our association's sincere gratitude for Councilman Marks' diligence and perseverance to ensure the traffic light at Perry Hall Boulevard and Buck Schoolhouse Road received county funding and will be installed next month. This light will ensure that the safety of not only our local residents, but those commuting through the area. This intersection has become very dangerous, and light is critical due to the number of additional housing developments being constructed. I would also like to commend both Councilman Marks and the zoning board on the down zoning and preserving thousands of acres for green space or recreational use. This action is a critical part to ensure our residents have a place to relax, children to play, and spaces open for future beautification. Finally, I would ask that county officials continue to evaluate and limit any future housing development, construction, or building projects that would further negatively impact the struggling infrastructure. Schools continue to struggle with overcrowding issues, fire and EMS services are underfunded, extremely busy, and often spread thin, and the police department is challenged with both staffing issues and call volume. All these organizations are critical to everyday life of our citizens. Thank you very much for extended time tonight. Have a good evening.
Hello, my name is Shane Henry. I'm a teacher here at Perry Hall High School. I would like to personally question if there's actually a need for Baltimore County Public Schools to increase its budget as much as the superintendent has asked while trying to threaten to cut things. I would urge the Baltimore County leadership to pressure the Baltimore County Public Schools leadership to spend the money where it belongs, in the schoolhouse, with the teachers, with the psychiatrists, and with the students. All we're asking for is our fair pay, smaller classes, which would really benefit our kids. So we feel, I feel, the lack of oversight from you guys is creating the issues and the rubber stamping that's been going on in Baltimore County Public Schools.
Shane, I brought up the efficiency audit. That's where everyone could start. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Greg Apple. I'm the president of the Perry Hall High School Athletic Boosters Club and a member of Perry Hall High School graduating class of 1999. I'm here tonight to express our continued need for the project of the revitalization of the track and the stadium projects at Perry Hall High School that was approved for the budget a few years ago when allocated money was given. We don't know where the money went to. We have questioned that for 3 years. We finally need to take that money, address the track surface, the sinking driveway that the ambulatory vehicles can't utilize to get to the track in case of an emergency, with the sinking holes, and help the boosters, myself, with restrooms, with permanent water that we have tried funding and putting there and been denied. If somebody could guide us down the road of how to do that. And I'm going to cut my time short and let everybody else go. Thank you.
Excuse me, I believe that has been in our budget this year. So because And I'm hoping to get it finished because I am just afraid somebody's going to walk along there and really hurt themselves because I did see it in person myself. So thank you again for bringing that up to our attention.
Good evening. My name is Mara Igorin. I am a career educator in Baltimore County Public Schools with 26 years experience, both as a special educator and 21 years as a school psychologist in Baltimore County. I share my colleagues' sentiments and concerns about the fact that we have been just recently informed that as of July 1, school psychologist positions have been reallocated or a partial layoff to our positions down to a 10-month position. What I want to really make sure that is forefront is the fact that we serve the mental health and the educational needs of all of our students in the county. We are central office staff. Our office is the Office of Psychological Services. We are a central office staff. We are not housed in the schools because we serve the entire county community. I serve county when I go to the Northeast area to work with students and do assessments and consult. I go to the Southeast Area Assessment Center in the summer to work with our birth to 5. I work in the central area. I work all year long, not only to do assessments, to work on mental health, but also to do the critical planning that's done in the schools. We work with our administrators and our school staff over the summer in critical areas such as planning for the school-wide behavior support plans, such as working on school climates, such as talking about PBIS, such as IEP meetings and working with other stakeholders to make sure that the costs for special education services are mitigated and we don't have mediation. Thank you for your time.
Okay. I think this is a reoccurring theme I've heard, besides all the other budget woes that we're having. But it's very important. I just heard this problem about the 10-month and the 12-month today.
Yes, we
So,
just heard it last Wednesday. And our supervisor,
last Wednesday?
Last Wednesday, we were told. And our direct supervisor and coordinator of psychological services were not consulted nor were informed until we were all informed as staff.
Because in this day and age, we need your profession.
Thank you. Just
More now than ever.
Just
So-
to piggyback on that, our colleagues in the school counseling office who work in secondary schools who are 12 department chairs who are 12-month positions were also informed 30 minutes before that all of their secondary guidance counselor department chair positions have been cut to 10 months from 12 months as well.
Yes, I just heard that today as well, and I'm not glad I heard it, and I'm not happy that I heard it, but I heard it and not happy about it. And I think what Councilman Marks said about what was that? The efficiency program, I'm going to look into that because I was unaware of that. So he has brought that to my attention, and
Thank you very much.
because we're trying to work with Baltimore County, because it's two different entities, and we're trying to do the best we can, but I have to stick up for the needs of our citizens, so I'm going to do the best I can.
And
so.
we stick up for the needs of our most vulnerable citizens.
Exactly right.
So, thank you
That's
so
exactly.
much.
I said this outside. I'm a special education teacher in another county. So in my other job, I write IEPs. I deal with transition coordinators, speech pathologists, psychologists, and other special educators and general educators. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And moving that to a 10-year program doesn't make any sense. I mean, those staff members need to be involved with their assistant principals and other staff, particularly when you're coordinating the schedule for next year and designing the type of accommodations that are going to help that population. So completely agree with you, and thank you all for your service.
Oh, hi. My name is Jerry Withers. I'm just here tonight to congratulate our Councilman David Marks for doing a fantastic job in District 5. And the other comment I'd like to make is I just hope the county executive and the county council will provide strong funding for public safety, namely fire, police, and correctional facilities. They're the only ones that can make this happen and make Baltimore County a safe place to live.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hello, Councilman Marks. Hello, County Executive, Madam County Executive. My name is Susan M. Finger. I work with CASA Baltimore County, but more important than that is I was in foster care as a kid. And I know that we've got a proposal in front of you that you generously funded last year. This year, because my volunteer couldn't come tonight, she had an emergency, I want to tell you why that's important and a unique proposition. When a CASA volunteer goes into a kid's life, just remember this, 6 months. A kid generally has 6 months in one school, 6 months with one set of teachers, 6 months with one set of doctors, therapists, and everybody else. And every 6 months when that kid goes up in front of the judge, in general, not always, the kid will be placed in a different school, a different set of circumstances, change friends, everything around them changing. Inside this sea of change comes a CASA volunteer who is assigned to that kid one-on-one to work with that kid throughout their time to help them navigate what we all know is a tumultuous time anyway. You got your hormones, you got your school, you got your homework. The CASA volunteer is the strongest presence in that child's life. So it's hard to get to foster kids through schools. It's hard to get to them through after-school programs because they change. They're moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. The reasons for that are multiple. It's not always the kid's fault. It's not often the kid's fault, but it still happens. So into that sea of change, CASA comes, we provide the relationship that allows that child to change, that relationship that connects the child to the planet, because we all know kids don't listen to what you say. They don't necessarily go because you build it. They take advantage of what's offered to them in terms of a relationship. I'm coming to the end. The position that you helped us fund helps maintain that relationship, not with an individual CASA volunteer, but as a place that a kid without a home, without a school, without consistency in their lives can come back and get resources that will keep them from becoming homeless, resources that will keep them healthy, resources that will keep them from ending up in prison, which is often the case, or drug addicted. So I'm just inviting you to consider those, and I will definitely forward the proposal to you again today. I want to thank you for having the vision to do this. We're only one of 2 programs in the country that has this position, and you guys helped us blaze that trail. So I really want to thank you and urge you to help us again this year.
Well, thank you for your information on that. I know didn't you come to one of the
I try to come to
you
everyone.
come
It's
to
really
everyone,
important.
and
Yeah.
I appreciate all that you do for those
Thank you.
foster children.
Thank you very
So,
much. Thank you, Councilman.
I really don't want to be up here talking to you today, but I feel like nobody represents the redheaded stepchild in the district, and that is the Eastern Sanitary Landfill. God bless you. I wouldn't want your job for all the tea in China. I think you're going to have a hard year coming up. David, God bless you for all your help you've done with all this. But that landfill is going to go up 48 feet after it reaches its capacity in the next couple of years. When I looked at the capital improvements budget, I saw 0 on what I saw coming in. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I'm saying I think you need to give some attention to that. There's not a big constituency for the landfills or the solid waste people or anything else, but it's necessary, and we're going to hit capacity soon. So I don't know what's been planned for that, whether there's a task force, and I'll regret saying this, but if you need a volunteer to help with it, I'll even help to do that. Good luck to you.
All right, this concludes this evening town hall. On behalf of Baltimore County Executive Kathy Klausmeier, Councilman Marks, and Baltimore County staff, we thank you all for coming out tonight and sharing your budget priorities. If you didn't have an opportunity to speak tonight but would like to share your priorities with the county executive, you may do so by emailing townhall@baltimorecountymd.gov. This concludes our town hall. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you all for coming.
thank you, and drive home safely, please.
Okay.